people where they're going out, not only stealing the TV, but the computers out of the houses.
Yep.
So if
Exactly.
you buy this kind of stuff, take the trouble to tear it up, put it in the garbage bag, and put it out that way. But don't put the big box out there. That's like advertising.
Yeah, I see it in the neighborhoods all the time. People advertising. Yes, ma'am.
Is window well, basement window well access a common way to break in?
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen that much of it lately, but yeah, that's a weak point. You know, most window wells, it's easy for somebody to get into a window well and just kind of disappear. Right, and just
side of the house.
they're on the side of the house. You know, I could be walking by. I'm going to check the gas or whatever it is. I look like I'm walking around the side of the house, and all I got to do is take one step, and I can just drop right into the window well. So then that goes back to locking your windows when you're away from home, even when you're at home, and then either securing those grates somehow. You know, where they make devices where you have the egress windows that are designed for a purpose, but those grates also have locking mechanisms where you can't pull them up from the outside, you can't unlock them from the outside, but in case of emergency, as you're climbing out that egress window well, that you can unlock that device and throw it open. So yeah, that's definitely a weak point. It's a good idea.
Do you think there's any psychological advantage to having something in your windows that's like ADT or you don't have the system? You know, does that help deter you?
To get into the psychological profile of a criminal, you never know. Because you don't know motivations, you don't know what state of mind they're in. You don't know if they're all doped up, and you know, half the time people don't pay attention to what's going on. You know, yeah, I could say, you know, somebody that may be a little bit more sophisticated that's watching the neighborhood and things like that, you might bypass something that says ADT or I got a big dog that's going to bite you or whatever it is. That might have some psychological effect on some people, but other people, if they're all doped up, it's not.
What percentage of the people that are doing the break-ins are drug addicts?
A recent study showed that of all violent crimes, about 90% involve a drug, drugs or alcohol. So you can rest assured if they're breaking their house, your house, that there's dope involved somewhere along the line.
And that goes with any of these crimes. Identity theft, you know, methamphetamine and identity theft type stuff, it goes hand in hand. We see it, you know, there's a huge connection. These people are just high on methamphetamine, they haven't slept for 6 days, they got nothing to do, so they just, you know, make stuff. Pull stuff apart, you know. You go into these motel rooms and there's 6 computers laying there that have been pulled apart 4 times and put back together. They're just psychosis. You know, it's an evil thing that we need to see. Hopefully, you guys will never have to see.
Some of the personal safety at home, a lot of this we've touched on, but so at the door, I'll tell you about a case that we're working right now. Is a couple comes up to a more established neighborhood. I won't say elderly. More experienced neighborhood. And they say, hey, can I use your phone? And we had a victim. These were two, the male was African American or maybe Middle Eastern descent. And the woman had the right idea. She said, well, no, you can't use my phone. I don't know who you are. And then initially she started to think, well, because this guy is of a different ethnicity than I am, I don't want to get in trouble because I'm white. Don't let that cross your mind. It does not matter who is at your front door, white, black, green, whatever. Don't open the door. They went in. He diverted this woman's attention. The woman went inside while he was making a fake phone call and cleaned out a bunch of jewelry. So these people target victims, and they believe the older the potential victim, the more trusting they are. Because, you know, past generations, when you guys grew up, and I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Ohio, and I grew up kind of the same way, where we didn't even lock our doors. And, you know, this sort of thing, we didn't have to worry about it because it just didn't happen. Well, we're here, and it's happening. And to live in that period You just can't do it anymore. You have to keep yourself safe. So don't ever open up the door. And if somebody persists, call us. Give us a call. A crime doesn't have to occur for you to call us. I would rather interrupt a potential crime than go and take the report and clean up the mess after the crime. So we have no problem responding after that. That's part of what we do as police officers, and we encourage those phone calls. We want to make it clear to people like that they're not welcome in your community. So call us. Door viewer, we talked about that. The example went around. You can't even get a 90-degree door viewer anymore. They're all 180 degree. When I say 180 degree, it's kind of a concave image, so you actually see if somebody's beside your door, then you'll be able to see them. So if you hear a knock and you don't see anybody and you go out, they're not going to grab you from the side. So 180 degree door viewer is good. It kind of negates, and there's really no purpose to it if you have glass on either side of the door where you have good visibility, or a window right next to the door. Then it kind of negates the purpose of a door viewer. But if you have a solid corridor and no other visibility around, it's a good idea. All you got to do, drill either a 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch hole directly through your door. It's not going to hurt it. And then this thing literally screws right into that, and then you're set. I could install one in 45 seconds, including opening up the box and everything.
Brian,
Very cheap and inexpensive to fix. Ma'am?
question back to the first number you said, call you. We don't want to use 911. It's not an emergency. Is there another number besides the 7-digit typical?
Absolutely. Every jurisdiction has a non-emergency number. The one in Lakewood is 303-987-7111. And that, you'll get the same dispatchers that respond to the 911 calls, but not on the emergency line.
Think of 911 as not an emergency number. Think of 911 as an in-progress versus a cold crime number. If something is does everybody understand when I say something, an in-progress call?
Yeah.
So if you look out your window and you see some kid spray painting the wall, is that in progress?
Yes.
What would you call? 911. Okay? If you have a salesman come to your door, knock on your door, he doesn't have any identification, he walks away. 911, 711.
711.
Or the 711
Okay.
number.
I was wondering if there was a quicker number like 911, but it wasn't emergency.
Two numbers. You got 911 and the 987-7111. Just like Brian said, they go to the same thing. But think of 911 as something that's happening right now, in progress, versus something that happened in the past. If I want to report, an abandoned car, or somebody came and spray painted my wall, but nobody's there. That's the non-emergency number. If it's in progress, that's the 911 number. And don't hesitate to call us. You're not going to go wrong. The dispatcher's not going to hang up on you because you called 911 for something. We get stupid calls all the time.
They say I have a 911 line, it's not an emergency because you might
Somebody else.
throw somebody else off that really has an emergency.
We have enough dispatchers that we usually can. But that's why we want to encourage people to stop thinking of it's an emergency. Yeah, it is. If it is an emergency, yeah, that's the number. But if it's something that's happening right now, it's in progress, call that 911 number.
As long as you don't call 911, we have an audio thing where this woman put her turkey in the oven,
Oh,
and she didn't know how long to cook it. So normal, reasonable people would maybe call your Aunt Betty or whoever it is that knows all about turkeys and call the flippin' Butterball hotline. She called 911 and asked the 911 dispatcher how long she should cook her turkey. Not that her oven was on fire. She just wanted to know how long to cook the turkey. So don't be that person. Any other hands I saw? Ma'am.
Are all the city numbers, the first 3 digits, are they all 987?
Yeah. Yeah. All the city of Lakewood numbers.
Yeah, unless you're dealing with stuff out at the mills. The mills has a different, I think it's 216, but the city can answer any of those questions out here.
They'll direct you to the mills, but everything pretty much starts with 987. Scam we had recently, Comcast guy. A Comcast guy just shows up to your door, hey, I'm here to do preventative maintenance.